Good morning, students. Today we are going to start chapter 3, that is feature, problem and policies of agriculture. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to learn about what are the problems which our agriculture was facing, and also about the policies at that time. What were the policies which had been implemented in the agriculture sector? So let us begin. So first of all, we are going to start with this importance of agriculture. Okay, so the first point here is contribution to the GDP. As we all know that there are three sectors basically, that is primary, secondary, and tertiary. So the primary sector, it's your agriculture sector. It's just a part of it. Okay, actually there are more sectors like mining and all. So they are also a part of primary sector. So here agriculture is also a part of primary sector. So let us talk about this contribution. Okay. So contribution, we can say that agriculture make a significant contribution in India. So what we are going to write here, see, during the period of the planning, okay, which means after 1951, the contribution of the GDP sector has been ranging between 51 to 17.4% for different years. So it has been ranging from 17.4 to 51%. Means they are talking about these planning years. Okay. So it has to decline, like it tended to decline. Please, you here you can see that this agriculture sector has been declining from 51%. Means it was at the time of in the 60s and 70s when there was a green revolution which was going on. So at that time there was a very great spurt in the production. Okay, so the production was increasing at that time. So at that time the contribution was high, and at the end, like nowadays we can see that the contribution has been reduced, like 17.4 or 18.5, something like that. So all this decline does not mean that the importance of agriculture has reduced, or many people have left this occupation. No, still the contribution of this agriculture is there. The decline is simply because the other sectors are performing much better. What are the other sectors here? The other sector are your tertiary and secondary. Secondary means industrial sector, and tertiary means services like finance, banking, insurance, and all. Okay, so it tended to decline over the time from as high as 51% in 1951 to 14.4% in 2018. Okay. However, the decline in the percentage contribution of agriculture does not indicate the decline in the importance of agriculture in the economy. It is simply because the faster growth of secondary and tertiary sector, as I told you. Okay. So here the first point is contribution of the GDP. So still the contribution of GDP is good in this agriculture field, because already the people are getting food because of this agriculture sector. Okay. Now let us discuss about the second importance of agriculture. What is the second importance? Supply of wage good. What are wage good? Maize, rice, wheat, bajra, all these essential commodities, daily food articles which we want to eat. Okay, so for feeding us we need such kind of things. So agriculture is producing such kind of things and we need it to consume. Okay, we eat it in order to live. So here the second importance is of wage good, and here we can say that it is already providing 121 crore people of India the food articles which they want to eat. Then the third point is source of employment. Okay, so what this source of employment means? See, source of employment means most of the people in India are indulged in this agriculture sector, so they are getting employment opportunity in the agriculture field. Okay, so this is the third importance. Like in India, agriculture is the important source of employment. So especially in the rural area, we can see that the people are doing or working in the agriculture field, maybe their own, or they are employed themselves, or they are working in somebody's else field, but the end of the day they are getting employment in the agriculture sector. So over this 50% of the working population in India is engaged in the agriculture sector. So data is very important here. So 50% of working population. So remember this, in India they are engaged in this agriculture sector. Okay. Now, supply of raw material. Now what is raw material? Raw material is the article which is required by the industries. Okay, so from where does it come? It also comes from the agriculture sector, like sugar cane for making sugar, cotton for this making clothes and all. So all these raw materials come from there. Okay, like soybean and all this kind of stuff. Now agriculture supplies industrial raw material like cotton for the textile industry, and seed for the oil industry. Okay, the sugarcane for the sugar mills. So we can say that the supplier of this raw material also agriculture sector. Then the fifth point is source of demand for the industrial good. Okay, so here agriculture sector is an important source of demand for the industrial good, particularly the capital goods. So tractor harvester machines are demanded exclusively by the agriculture sector. So in this sector also some machines are required in agriculture, like tractors, harvesters. So all these things are demanded because of this agriculture field. So agriculture, this prosperity leads to the spurt or increase in the production of industrial sector also. Now the sixth point, contribution to this international trade. So agriculture sector also contribute to the exports. Means here agriculture make a significant or important contribution in the international trade. So in year 2018, the share of our agriculture sector in total export of the country stood at 11.76%. So India is exporting this tea, jute, cashew nuts, tobacco, coffee, and spices. Okay, so this tea and coffee has been from many years we are exporting such kind of articles. Even ancient India was doing it. So 11.6% is a good contribution of this export, which is coming from this agriculture sector. So exports are basically something which gives us foreign exchange. Means when you sell something outside to the foreign countries, we get foreign exchange from them. Okay, we'll be getting dollars from them if you sell something to America. Now after this, contribution to the domestic trade. In the domestic trade also, the contribution of agriculture is very good. So agriculture plays an important role in domestic trade. So this is borne out by the fact that the huge expenditure in India is incurred on the purchase of farm product needed by a more than million of people of the country. So in our domestic trade also we can see that everybody is demanding wheat, rice. So we purchase right, but the producers again the agriculture sector. So all this domestic trade also improves because of this agriculture. Then support to the transportation industry. Now how is transportation coming into picture over here? See, here you can see that it supports the transport industry. So how? See, railway and roadways are the bulk carrier of the farm products. So farm products from this agriculture field, they are coming to the cities and the in all the areas. So we need to transport them. So we'll have to take this help of all these logistic kind of companies like APL Logistic, and there are many other companies like that which helps to transport the farm product from one place to the other. So this is how the transport sector or logistics sector also growing. Okay, now after this, the ninth point is wealth of the nation, or you can say the GDP. Now here, so here in this point, a major part of this wealth is coming from this agriculture sector. So in the terms of fixed assets and this land occupying, also India occupies a very high rank in this land occupying areas. Okay, so capital worth crores of rupees stay invested in the major minor irrigation product here. So all these major and minor irrigation projects which are involving a heavy expenditures, so also all these fixed assets are involved in the contribution of this GDP in the agriculture. So heavy investment is been made here. So because of this, we can say that the wealth of this nation also created, because agriculture also attract a lot of investment. Okay, now briefly, agriculture in India is of main importance both in the terms of production of farm products and in the term of demand for the non-farm products. Okay, any slowdown in the agriculture sector leads to slowdown in the industrial sector. Now as we seen that this GDP growth also improves when this agriculture activities improves, and it goes down when these activities decreases, because see raw materials ultimately supplied to the industry by this agriculture sector only. If it is not supplied, then it will lead to downfall of the industrial sectors. So automatically our GDP is going to fall. Now features, what are the features of the Indian agriculture? Now, in this feature of the Indian agriculture, the first point is low productivity. So, what is productivity? Productivity means output per hectare of land. Suppose there is a part of land per hectare piece. So, how much production is done in that part of land, which is 1 hectare of land? That is called as productivity. So, it is extremely low in India as compared to the other countries or nations. Okay. So, here in this table you can see that there are two crops here which are given, like rice and wheat and maize. You can see that India's contribution is very less in terms of productivity everywhere. China, Vietnam, and even world's average, if we look, see in rice it is very close. India is good in production of rice, but still, in comparison to China and UK, where the wheat production, rice production is good, we are lagging here. Okay, so because of this low productivity, this is a sign of backwardness. Okay, so since agriculture sector depends demand depends on this for this industrial sector, so what happens, see, when this agriculture activity will improve, automatically the demand for this industrial goods will also improve, so industrial sector will rise. Okay, and backwardness of this agriculture is showing what it is telling us, that the growth of the industry will also be slow. Okay, the second point is disguised unemployment. Okay. Now, what is disguised unemployment? See, disguised unemployment is a situation where if a hidden employment, okay, it occurs when the number of the people engaged on the piece of the land is much higher than what is actually needed. So apparently all are employed. Okay. So here what we can say, disguised employment means, suppose there is a piece of land and there are only requirement of four peoples. Okay. Only four peoples are required in this piece of land, but you can see that there are more peoples lying, but the requirement is of only four peoples. So you can see, suppose there are 10 peoples working on that land, so actually these six peoples are not required. We don't need those six people, because actually in this piece of land, if everybody will be working, there are 10 people who are working, we can say that everybody is working over there, but actually they are not required over there, only requirement is of four people. So the rest, that is six people, are called as disguised unemployment, because they will be providing with nothing. It is no it is of no use they if they are working over there, because only four people are required for the entire production of that part, so the rest are not required. And if they are working, so actually the requirement is not there of such kind of people. So that is called as disguised unemployment. Basically it is it can be seen in this agriculture field. Now, still these people will be considered as unemployed, even they are working, but still will be telling them that they are unemployed, because they are not adding anything to the economy. Now, this dependence of rainfall. Okay, now this is a serious matter over here in India. See, in Indian agriculture, what happens still in today's time, we are highly dependent on the rainfall. Okay, so the crop production is highly uncertain. See, we don't know whether the what kind of rain is going to happen in the next year. So it is unpredictable. We cannot say that the rainfall is going to be good or bad the upcoming years. So good rainfall, if happens, it leads to good crop production, and bad rainfall means bad crops. Sometimes even the spoiled crops are spoiled because of this heavy rainfalls. So still this is a kind of problem which has been faced. Okay, this is the another feature. Now, subsistence farming. Now, what is subsistence farming? Farming in India is the subsistence oriented, means the primary objective of the farmer is to secure subsistence for his family, and it is not to earn profits. Means what? See, if a farmer is there in the family, why he's going? Suppose he's having a huge part of land with him for doing agriculture, but he's not doing agriculture on the entire piece of land. He's doing or farming only on a piece of land, and not the entire land. And because of that, he'll be getting some crops for his household, his family, and they will just be surviving on those crops which they have grown for their survival. So this is called as subsistence farming. Here they are not producing anything extra, which is called as surplus, which they can sell in the market and make profit. So this is a conventional outlook, outdated thinking of the farmers. So it is called as subsistence. This is what their ancestors has been told by them, that you should just grow and you should eat, and you can live happy life. So this is a kind of thinking, orthodox thinking of this. Okay, now the fifth point, lack of modern inputs. So modern inputs means all these insecticide, pesticide, chemical fertilizers, and all these kind of things are modern inputs, which nowadays lot of agriculture peoples are using all this kind of stuff. Now it is because of the bulk farming population in India, it is extremely poor. So lack of modern inputs leads to low productivity and therefore backwardness. Now here we can see still some people are using, but some people are there who are still not using such kind of things, which leads to the low productivity in India. Okay, so this is the thing which wherein these people are not using their modern inputs. Now, also modern inputs not only include this insecticide and pesticides, such as all these kind of things like machinery, like tractor and harvester. Also, many people are not having. So either they are just using that bulls or some outdated technology which is been used in the past. They are using that, so that is another reason, because they are not able to invest much. So that is a feature. Then small holdings. So many people or many people who are indulge in agriculture or farmers, they are cultivating on this small part of land, so they are having a very small land with them. Okay, so it is a characteristic of feature. So in this mechanism of farming, a use of machine become difficult. Okay, so here the use of machine, the first thing which becomes difficult, because if even they will use, the land is very small, and the cost will not come out of those machinery. Okay, then the second point will be marginal farming continues to view farming as a source of subsistence rather than enterprises for profit. So the small holdings are there, so people don't think that why should we try to grow more and sell it in the market. I am having a small holdings, I should grow less and live happy life. So this is a kind of feature, small holdings, because it just they become reluctant to invest and to purchase all this kind of insecticides or tractors, because if you are having a small land with you, why should you purchase a tractor for it? Because even if you purchase the installment of the tractor, because you will be growing less, a small piece of land you are having, you will not be having so much of things or so much of money with you by selling such kind of product. So you will not feel good about investing in such kind of stuffs. Now, landlord and tenants conflicts. So sometimes what happens, see, who's a landlord? The people who are having huge part of land under their name. Then the tenants are the people who can be farmer at the same time, but they are not having any money to invest in their land, like purchasing of seeds and insecticide and fertilizer. So what they do, they will be working in somebody's else land. Okay, so huge areas are cultivated by the tenants who are not the owners of the soil, but the bulk of the revenue is appropriated by the owners of the landlord. Now, tenant often get bare minimum, so little or no surplus is left with the tenant for reinvestment. So, what happen when they work in somebody else field? So, all the profit will be taken away by the landlord, and they pay very bare minimum wages to these farmers, which is just good for their survival, and they cannot reinvest that money into their field or their land, and they are not able to grow in their own part of land. So what they do, they will be just dependent on their on this landlord's land, and they'll be coming there daily, and they'll be doing farming activities over there. Now primitive means old technology. Primitive, as you can see in this picture, this man is farming by the help of bulls. Now, this is not the latest technology. This is outdated technology actually. So, primitive is a outdated technology. So, because bulk of the farm in India is small in size, bulk of the farming population is poor. So, they use what primitive technologies. So, it becomes inevitable. So, they will use bull plows, and here you can see the bulls is plowing the land. So, they don't use tractor. So, we find heavy reliance of cultivators on the cattle power and manpower rather than the modern equipments like tractor and harvesters. So as I told you earlier also, this is a point that primitive technology means most of the people in Indian agriculture, they will be using such kind of outdated technology and not the latest technology. So this is also a conventional outlook, outdated thinking which they're having, which is another feature of agriculture. Now, what are the problems which are faced by the Indian agriculture? We are going to discuss this one. So here, lack of permanent means of irrigation. So crop farming in India is heavily dependent on agriculture. Permanent means of irrigation are extremely deficient. Okay, so here already the rainfall problem is there in India, and there are very few irrigation facilities in India. It is very less. So dependence on rainwater makes Indian agriculture extremely vulnerable. Good rainfall brings good harvest, while droughts cause a substantial loss of output. So here, if good rainfall happens, the productivity will be good. If rainfall doesn't happen or drought happens, drought means the land will be barren. So at that point of there will be loss of output means productivity. Now, stability in the agriculture requires the permanent means of irrigation developed across the parts of the country. So stability can become and this thing can be made as a part of this Indian agriculture. If there will be permanent irrigation facility, this can improve. But now they are facing this problem of this irrigation facility. The first problem you should remember, it is of irrigation facility which they are having. Second problem this agriculture is facing is deficiency of finance, means they are not having money. So from what they do in order to get the money, if they want to do the farming, they will have to get the money from somewhere. So definitely these people, they have their financial needs. The small farmer depend upon the non-institutional peoples like Mahajans. So what these Mahajans are, these are money lenders, landlord, okay, and they charge a very high rate of interest. So this is another problem. So even if some farmer want to do this agriculture, they will have to go to this Mahajan and he will be giving money at a very high rate of interest, which is not good for a farmer, and he'll be exploited in this way. Okay, so institutional finance, referring to the banking and other financial, is extremely scarce in relation to the needs of the farmers. So now these activities of this banking and all this field is very poor. So these banks are not able to acquire or achieve their targets in this in this agriculture area. And still NABARD and all these RRB regional rural banks, they are still trying to give or provide loans, but the now the situation for the farmer is very vulnerable because they are not able to pay the debts, and here they become in debt because of that, and they drive themselves into the situations of poverty. Now conventional outlook. Now what is conventional? Conventional means this outlook towards the farming is another problem of Indian agriculture. So today we know that the technology and all these innovations are so many, like good hybrid seeds are available, technology is available, but these people are not using it. So how they're doing this farm management practice? Indian farmer continues to rely on conventional wisdom. So what happens here? Whatever the things which has been told to the farmers by their ancestors, it is called as conventional outlook. So if they are telling them that the you should sow the seeds by your hands and not by the tractors and all, so this is a kind of conventional outlook they are having, and they are still remember the wisdom of what their ancestor was having. But today we have improved even in agriculture field. We are even doing this management in agriculture, so all this knowledge also helps to increase the productivity in agriculture, but these people are having this conventional outlook or outdated thinking, you can say it purani soch. Okay, so all this kind of conventional outlook leads to backwardness of this Indian agriculture. Now small and scattered land, this is another problem. What happens here? See, holding in the Indias are only not small but scattered as well. So small holding do not allow them to use modern technology. Scattered holding increase the cost of management. This leads to the backwardness of farming and leads to them to poverty. So in India, these people are having scattered land. Like one piece of land they are having in Ratlam, one piece they are having in Javra, and all these different places. Okay, nearby places. So it is not possible for a farmer to look at each and every field, because each and every field will be at a greater distance. So and he will also not feel good about investment, doing investment like purchasing tractor and harvester and all, because it is not possible for him to look after each and every piece of land. So land is scattered and it is not consolidated at one place. This is the another problem. After this, the exploitative agrarian relations. Agrarian relations means what? See, agrarian relations refers to the business relations. Okay, now between this, who? Landlord and the tenants. So many landlords are absentee landlords, so they seldom do farming themselves. So all these landlords, they don't do this agriculture activity by themselves. They will be just taking this money from these people or tenants who will be working under them. So they rely on rental income, they take it as a rent. They tend to exploit their tenants who are actual tillers of the soils, okay, by the way of charging high rents and related charges. So what these landlords do, they will be charging high rents from these people, and they will be left with bare minimum wages with them. So all the money is actually been taken away by these uh, landlords. So this is exploitative agrarian reforms which has been in India for a very long time. Still it's in some parts we can see this thing happening between this landlord and the tenants. Now, now the sixth point is lack of organized marketing system. So in marketing system of this agriculture has been very poor. So agriculture marketing system is not organized properly. So here a vast majority of the small farm continue used to sell their product in the local markets or to this trader at a very reduced or less rates. So these farmers get a very less rate for their output or production. So this is another problem. So because it happens because of this unorganized marketing system where they're being exploited. So here they'll be selling either to this margins or this all these money lenders or the traders who are also called as the middlemen. And the farmers also, they just don't want to come to the market and look out for good prices. They will be very, it is just like very easy for this farmer to sell their all their output to these traders and they'll be free. Now after this, agrarian reforms come into picture. Now in these agrarian reforms we are going to learn about the three things. Okay, so here it will be in this technical reforms, the first of all. Okay, then it will be land reforms and there will be general reforms. So basically all these changes or reforms are simply made to improve the condition of this Indian agriculture. So let us just begin with this technical reform first. So what is the first point here? Use of HYV seeds or hybrid variety seeds. So what happens here in India in the earlier days, after in all this earlier agriculture time, the production is been done by not using all these kind of seeds. Now these seeds are of a special variety, means they used to increase the production and take the production level up to a great level or spurt will, in production will be there. So this high yield variety seeds have replaced the conventional varieties. Okay, so old, instead of old seeds nowadays they are using this kind of seeds. So especially this wheat, bajra, rice, maize, jowar, cotton have led to the rise in the crop productivity. This is a breakthrough and this is called as green revolution. So when you say that green revolution, it simply refers to this high yield variety seed, which is nothing but it simply increases the growth or the output of the production quantity. Now even here, the National Seed Corporation has been set up to promote the growth of distribution of HIV seeds. So even this corporation has been set up so that these HIV seeds will be distributed among these farmers. So here in 2016-17, nearly 6,20,743 quintals of seeds were distributed among the farmer, which is a great number. Okay. Now after this, there are two more points here related to the technology, which is the use of chemical fertilizer, insecticide, and pesticide. So here you can see the chemical fertilizer simply used in this technical reforms to increase the productivity of the soils. Okay, so in year 2017-18, nearly 265.9 lakhs tons of chemical fertilizer were used. So today this agriculture are using this chemical fertilizer very soon in order to increase the fertility of the soil. Then use of insecticide and pesticide are simply used to kill this all these pests and insects in the field which destroy the destroy their crops. Now steps have been initiated to promote crops against the diseases and insect. So plant also got diseases. To save this plant from the disease and this insect, this kind of things are used. Okay, now here 14 central plant protection centers have been set up in this respect for plant protection. Integrated pest management program were adopted along with the adoption of HYV seeds or technology. Okay, so here what they're doing, they're setting up this there is central plant protection center, means they'll be protecting the crop. Yeah, this farmer used to reach this kind of agencies and they'll be helping them to solve their problems. Now after this, scientific farm management practices. What is scientific? See, stress has been laid on the scientific cultivation as against the conventional farming. So what is scientific? Nowadays, how this farming is done. So scientific method of this farming in relation to this is selection of crops and their qualities. First, the quality they are going to look at the crops. Then there will be preparation of the soils. Means soils will be prepared for different types of crops. Then crop rotation will be there. Crop rotation means every time we are not going to grow rice every year or every single time we are going to grow rice only. We'll be rotating those crops. We'll be growing rice, then wheat, then different types of crops. So it also helps in increasing the fertility of the soil. So then after that, the selection of the seeds will be checked. Then use of fertilizer beside the others. Okay, Now use of fertilizers will also be there to make the soil fertile, and as well as the selection of the seeds means which seed will provide more output or more production. This is how they are going to use all this scientific management means there is some science behind this agriculture, and they know that the productivity can be increased if they will do such kind of things. Okay, now in this connection, intensive agriculture area program has been introduced also. Also, integrated rural development program has been launched to speed up the process of growth in agriculture. So all these programs which have been launched by the government, it helps in just improving the growth in this agriculture area. Then fifth point is mechanized means of cultivation. Now, what is mechanized means? See, several measures have been taken to spread the use of mechanized means of cultivation to enable the small farmer to buy agricultural machines. Cheap credit facilities are provided by the cooperative society, small margin farmer agencies, RRB, and commercial banks. So, all these banks and all these commercial cooperative societies, see what they used to do, they'll be helping these farmers in buying some machinery for their agriculture use, and they'll be paying interest, of course, if you will take loan, and then you'll have to pay back that interest to all this kind of banks. So this is a kind of thing which is a mechanized means of cultivation. So actually they are here referring to the purchase of tractor and harvester for their agriculture field. This how also the condition of this agriculture is going to improve. Okay, so that's all for today. Then we'll be continuing this in the next lecture. Till then, thank you.